Good afternoon and a warm welcome to Democracy and the Rule of Law. My name is Judith Irenua. And you know, on Democracy and the Rule of Law, what we do is to explore trending national issues from the perspective of the rule of law and the Constitution. On today's edition of Democracy and the Rule of Law, we'll be assessing the Edo governorship election. We'll be looking beyond the loss of the APC, what really happened during the elections, who are the winners and the losers of that election. It goes beyond one person. It goes beyond who was declared winner of the Edo State governorship election. And also on today's edition of Democracy and the Rule of Law, we'll be looking at the Nigeria Police Act 2020. What should you as a citizen of Nigeria know about this law? What do you know about the police? What are your rights? How should the police conduct themselves when they come to effect an arrest, and many others you should know pertaining to this particular act, which has been receiving commendations following the president signing it into law. Welcome once again to Democracy and the Rule of Law, and I'm not alone. We have our legal practitioners on the table who are ready to explore these issues. It's nice to have you, Barrister Michael Mundan. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Judith.
All right, Barrister Shakira Molaja, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Good to see you again.
Yeah, it's good to see you too. All right, let's delve in. Governor Godwin Obaseki, of the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, was declared winner of the September 19 governorship election. You know that already. All right, Obaseki polled 307,955 votes to defeat his main rival, Osage Izeyamo of the All Progressives Congress APC, who had 223,617 votes. Obaseki won in 13 of the 18 local government areas and thus scored more than 25% of votes cast in 2/3 of the local government in the state to satisfy the second constitutional requirement to be declared governor. I recall that Obaseki won his first election in 2016 as a candidate of the All Progressives Congress, principally supported by Adams Oshomole, the immediate past governor and former chairman of the All Progressives Congress. All right, Barrister Michael Mundan, you watched. Let's even before the election.
Yes.
We anticipated a lot. It was a scary moment and a moment many Nigerians look forward to because of the drums of war that was beaten prior to that election. The Oba of Benin had to step in with a peace accord, call the main contenders to his palace and made them like sort of swear an allegiance to the fact that there will be peace before, during and after the governorship election. The National Peace Committee also, for the first time in a governorship election, went ahead to make these candidates sign a peace accord. What is your takeaway from this election?
Thank you, Judith. I must confess that before the election, I was actually scared of the scenes we were going to experience in Edo State. But because of the number of people that had actually intervened in the situation, because when you listen to Shomole making bold declarations that this is what is going to happen and all that, and you hear Godwin Obaseki on the other side sitting down to say that if this happened, this is going to happen and all that, we became concerned about the situation. But what I am happy about the entire scenario is that INEC decided to do the right thing in this perspective. INEC decided to ensure that only the votes that were cast was counting, and that there's nowhere there was going to be any manipulation from what we saw anyway, because we realized that out of about 2 million voters, only a region of about 600,000 or thereabout voted. And so if in the normal scene that we always have, if you have 2 million voters, at the end of the day, they say 1.999 something voted, so that you would not say everybody voted. Sometimes some of the states, they voted everybody, which is not possible. So, but you see, when this result came out, and it was rolling out, everybody was seeing what was going on and all that, even at the point that a PDP man disappeared, and people were saying, why is he going away? Because we all have the result here. I saw the idea people say, what is he running away from here? If he comes here with anything different from what we have, we will not accept it, because we all have it. So that is how it should be. It shows that Nigeria can get it right if it is determined to do that. If the will is there, INEC is ready to do the right thing as he did in Edo State. It means that if the president of Nigeria, as it were, decides not to intermeddle, not to control the officers of the election body, and then allow them to have free hand and do the right thing can be done, and we will have good, free, fair election as we had in Edo State. I want to appreciate the president for this singular act. He did not manipulate, he did not allow anybody to force him to ask somebody, it must be this person. I even saw in one of the news media that he said that he was responsible because he did not intervene, which is right. That is how a president should do. And if he allows this to happen, everybody will give it to him that he has done the right thing. And what we have been hammering on is that let us have an election that is free and fair, so that the politicians will know that if you are not performing, on the next day you go. People will push you out of the situation. What we had in Edo State was a situation that you had the citizens saying that we are not going to support godfatherism, we are not going to support boasting, we are not going to support somebody who says he's a god, he is the one that makes this and all that. When you look at the scenario, the fact that it was Pastor Izehiyamo that was called thief in 2015, 2006, and then the same Izehiyamo is the one that is called saint in 2020. It sounds funny for somebody to now think that the same person that you accuse of being a thief the other time, you now want the citizens to now vote for the same person. That was part of the reasons people said no, we cannot be taken for granted. Right. We have been taken for granted for too long. This time around, we are going to exercise our will. And when they exercised their will, the will stood, and God, by their side, made sure that the thing came to pass.
All right, Barrister Shakir Malaja, I see you smiling. Did you see the election turning out the way it did? What were your fears? Did your fears come to pass? What was it about this election for you?
Let me start by saying to the Oba of Benin, Oba Atokpaye, he said, because he gave leadership, he showed concern. He knew that if anything were to go wrong in Benin, he will not be able to hold on to that stool. He behaved like a good father whose children were singing the songs of war. They were going to set his house on fire. He could not afford to go to sleep. So once again, I said to the Oba of Benin, Oba Atokpaye, he said, having said that, the election in Benin, to say I had my worries is only natural, going by the history of Nigeria, going by the antics of our politicians. But the election was won and lost, considering some very, very clear factors. Starting from the presidency, to former governor of Lagos State, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to former governor of Edo State, Comrade Adams Oshiomhole, to the gentleman called Izehiyamo, to the incumbent governor, now re-elected, Godwin Obaseki, and ultimately the people of Edo State with their slogan, Edo no be Lagos. Let me take it from this analogy. With due respect to the gentleman, the gifted political leader called Jagaban, affectionately, I think he made a tactical error. a terrible mistake in his broadcast to the Edo people. And this is the analogy. Recently, we had the NBA election. The NBA election, we had 3 persons running, 2 senior advocates of Nigeria and a non-senior advocate of Nigeria. And unfortunately, while the campaigns were going on and were in the heat of the process, a particular senior advocate of Nigeria committed a tactical error, a serious blunder. He took lawyers for granted and he insulted our collective intelligence by saying that why would the non-senior advocates of Nigeria be contesting the office of the presidency of the NBA constitution? The man forgot, because of arrogance, because of being tactless, that the non-senior advocates are in the majority.
Yes.
And being a senior advocate is only a privilege, not a right. In the NBA constitution, there's nowhere where it is stated that only a senior advocate can become the president of the NBA. It's only about a point in time, starting from when we went to Ibadan, that senior advocates emerged. When this gentleman was just going to contest, it was not even the senior advocate of Nigeria, who eventually became senior advocate, eventually became president as senior advocate. But that aberration, that development, they were not going to give it an imprimatur of law. And lawyers, we smiled to one another, we smiled to ourselves, and we taught them a lesson, such that they better watch it. They better watch it. The young lawyers we are having today are ever vibrant, technologically savvy. They know their worth. They are not saying that they begrudge anybody become a senior advocate in Nigeria, but for daring to insult us, exactly what happened in Edo State by the broadcast of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. In what capacity was he addressing the people of Edo State and telling them who to vote for and who not to vote for? As a political leader, perhaps he should not have done that. He could still have campaigned for Eze Iyamu, but not necessarily by now making a national broadcast, as it were. And the people of Edo State said, we are insulted, we are angry, we have been provoked, we shall speak with our ballot. They did not only speak with their ballot, they voted and they defended their votes. They were there. And let me join my colleague in saluting the courage of INEC for deploying technology. Yes. Because as the results were unfolding, they were putting the results on their website. They put the results on their website, technology, such that if you had any hidden agenda, if you're going to manipulate figures, you have technology to contend with. Number 2, or further, the people of Edo State, like I said, were shining their eyes. They knew some persons were desperate. They had collected money. And what were they doing? They became their own police force. They were vigilant. They were going there. When they saw any aberration, they got the person arrested. They did not kill anybody, but they were using telephone cameras. They were using technology to show to the whole world, look at what is going on. Such that some persons, party leaders, particular parties, were caught with raw cash. People are saying, look, we are not prepared to sell our future for mere pittance. Let's look at the character of the governor, incumbent governor, Godwin Obaseki. He campaigned using what he has done to convince the people. Within the 4 years I have been opportune to be your governor, look at my track record. This is what I've been able to do. Give me further 4 years, I shall leverage on that to perform more. Such that the traditional women, and I respect Edo people for one thing, despite colonization of Nigeria, despite the colonization, they are still very, very traditional. The day I knew that it was serious business in Benin was when I saw these traditional women who came out praying, sweeping, and giving their solemn support, mark my words, solemn support to Godwin Obaseki. I didn't say they cursed anybody, and that was how serious electioneering in Edo got. People became involved. And let us look at the character of the gentleman called Adams Oshiomhole, who in one breath, as he was now struggling, and he was struggling to sell Eze Iyamu to the Edo people. At the same time, the Edo people were confronting him with what he said 4 years ago. It now became effectively Adam Soshiomole effectively campaigning for Governor Obaseki. Because when he was going to make Governor Obaseki succeed him, he said very brilliant things. He said egalitarian things. He said most flattering things about Governor Obaseki. And he said damaging things. Irreparable words were used in condemning Pastor Ize-Iyamu.
And the internet never forgets.
Oh, human beings don't forget. Only when we want to be mischievous. The internet, to use the expression, does not forget.
Yeah.
And people have all these pictures. So each time we see the gentleman trying to launder the image of Pastor Ize-Iyamu, simultaneously they will play what he said. Even when he was singing by the your God what says you are. You are a winner, somebody is a loser.
So inadvertently you're saying the election was not even lost or won on the 19th of September. It's
and then the icing on the cake. And I hope APC leadership is listening. The icing on the cake is that Nigerians, I'm a concerned Nigerian. My children are all here. My wives are here. As a concerned Nigerian, the reason why Edo further lost, the PDP lost in Edo,
the APC.
The APC rather, the reason why they lost, and they better watch it, 2023 is coming, is because of the most unfortunate thing the federal government did to Nigerians during the electioneering, during the campaigning towards Edo 2020. What did the federal government do? To kill it for APC. That was the time they chose to raise the pump price of fuel, to raise electricity tariff. And this was a party that campaigned on the mantra of change, that gave us promise of El Dorado, that our suffering will be taken away from us, that will become proud as Nigerians, that our naira, our dear naira, that's now having a free fall, going to about 450, 500 to $1, will become 1 naira to $1.
Very well.
Maybe in our dreams. So Nigerians saw to further vote that party will be committing collective suicide.
Very well, Barrister Shakira Molaja. You have really, really, really made your point. Let's go listen to what some analysts said about the Edo governorship election. I'll be right back. Do stay with us. You're still watching Democracy and the Rule of Law.
Edo State people decided by themselves how they want to conduct their own affairs. Everybody coming from outside to interfere or intervene, as the case may be, in the Edo election are doing so basically out of fear that maybe they resort to violence. But they've shown that they are willing to stand by their votes, whatever it is the outcome, and that to me is what to take away from this election.
As a journalist, I've also had a first-hand information. I visited Edo recently and I saw what he has done. Even with the paucity of funds, he had done pretty well, and Edo people have also seen those achievements speaking for him. Yes, when he came to power in the first place, he came to power on the back of very strong political elites. But now they've also shown that he has also made them understand that, look, the reason why we fell out was because they want us to share the money, and that's what the people don't want to hear. A lot of people didn't quite see that. They thought the Edo election would go the usual way of the political elites dictating everything. But I knew that even when the US came out with a ban, I knew that was a check on what politicians should do.
The Buhari administration was neutral in the election. It didn't try to use the federal might to muscle in a PDP candidate. So that was very impressive. And then you had most people adjudicated the election fair and free. Again, it was a blow on political godfatherism, which was very thrilling to me. There will always be godfathers. The question is the motivation of the particular godfather. Is he motivated by the public good? Is he motivated by the respect for the legitimate aspirations of the people? Is he motivated by the overall good of the country?
Well, I'm waiting for the APs to react, and they've reacted. And they wait whether they'll go to court or not. I'm sure the governor will be sitting with one half of his butt on the chair, knowing fully well that he still has a long way to go towards the final resolution in the Supreme Court. But having said that, I think the best thing to do now, whether I win the Supreme Court or not, is to make sure that there's no animosity towards his opponents. That's the only way to show leadership. But if he doesn't do that, again, he's within his rights. Nobody can tell him what to do but himself.
Well, going to court, yes, it's their right to go to court. You can't stop anybody who has the right to seek redress, not to. But at the end of the day, is it going to be just a mere waste of court time or a mere waste of Nigerian time? Or are we hoping to see what happened in Imo? Are we waiting to see what happened in Bayelsa? Is that what we are? Is that what we want? Were the wishes of the people actually reflected in those judgments? Is that what we need? So it's not just governance. It's not just about it's me, it must be me. It must be me all the time. It should be about the people. It should be about what the people want. If the people says it's Obaseki, let it be Obaseki. If the people have said that it's Yamu, it should have been Yamu.
My advice is to APC to learn from the example of President Goodluck Jonathan, who considered defeat. It was something exemplary, something dignifying that he did. Considered defeat, didn't fight it, didn't go to court. And it was something I wish most Nigerian politicians will come to learn from. So all this talk about they use tough arm tactics, they rigged the election, I think it sounds a little, it rings hollow, because Obaseki and the PDP have no federal might.
Welcome back, and this is Democracy and the Rule of Law, and you just listened to some political affairs analysts who spoke about the Edo governorship election. They hailed the people of Edo State, yes, the electoral umpire, the presidency, and also security agencies. They all played a role in one way or the other towards the success of the Edo governorship election. I saw this question online, and I just say, let me bring it here. Barsamona, do you think the politics that returned Governor Godwin Obaseki to office for the second term was entirely local? Was it just the people alone, or there was more to it that met the eyes?
Very well. There's no way that politics would have been only local. You see, when US issued a warning that anybody that rigs this election will be banned from traveling into US, that was an issue that made so many people to be very careful. So apart from the fact that the people saw themselves, the indigenes of Edo State saw themselves as having a challenge of trying to surmount this issue of godfatherism, somebody lording it over the citizens, trying to get their own commonwealth into their own private pocket and all that in order to pocket the state. And so they felt that it was time for them to ensure that they got themselves out of the bondage. And that was why everybody in Edo State, majority, not everybody anyway, because no matter what happens, even the devil must have his own supporters. So majority of the people said, no, we are going to stand behind this man because we see him as somebody who is sincere. There are so many mistakes Godwin Obaseki had actually done. For instance, the issue of the House of Assembly is an issue that when I sit down, I think, why did this man have to do this? It was a wrong step. But then the man had protected the commonwealth of the people. He did not share the money as some other people used to do, and that was the reason he fell out of terms with his godfathers and all that. And so the Edo people now saw him as somebody who is a savior, trying to ensure that their own common patrimony was not going to be depleted by somebody who is the executive governor of the state. And so apart from that, the media also played a very important role. They ensured that everything that was hidden was brought to the public. Everybody heard about what was going on and all that. For instance, the video that depicts Comrade Adams Shomole, saying that Godwin will always win and this one will always lose and all that, and singing that this one is a thief and this one is something that somebody exhumed from the archives and brought it to bear, and then it was something that was ringing in the ears of everybody. How can you say that this man had been a bad person and you want him to be a saint now, and you are taking us for granted and all that? So I feel that it was a composite arrangement by God himself to ensure that no matter what happens, the people of Edo State were liberated from the clogs of the bondage that they were hitherto into.
Barrister Shakir, what do you think? What's your take rather on that?
I do not agree with him, what he has to say about America being an influence. And as a Nigerian, as an African, I often feel insulted with the type of political power, recognition, and internationalism we give to America and Europe. They are not our friends. Allow me to say, where was America when June 12 was stolen and Abiola was killed? Forget it. America was not interested in the liberation of Nigeria and is not interested in the liberation of Nigeria. They are just playing politics with us. What is the effect of banning some people not to travel? Is it everybody who wants to travel to America? What is the effect of traveling to America? Would that put rice or bring the price of rice down? To hell with them. Now, let me say this. The people of Edo State decided that they were going to be liberated. That it was enough. Godfatherism, taking people for granted. How many persons in Edo State was even aware that America has said some people were being blacklisted? No, that is not a factor for me. The factor is your track record. The fact is, what do you have to show? The people of Edo State knew that their fate was in their hands, and they came out, they voted, and they stood by their votes. That for me is what Nigeria and Nigerians should be concerned with. We should be less concerned with the politics of manipulation that Europe and America are always subjecting us to. They steal money here, take abroad. You never prosecute them for bringing money to your country, but yet you will deny us what is so essential to us. Why is there no policy from all these world powers that your government, if within the next 12 months you do not have refineries in all your states, no leader shall travel? Why are they not saying that? See, I don't want to get angry, even though I'm already getting angry. America will not liberate Africans. Europe will not liberate Africans. Our destiny is in our hands. Now you will give them the opportunity to come and treat themselves, medical tourism and everything. Yet you have their records. They are stealing billions of naira, if not billions of dollars. So America did not influence what happened in Edo State. If they had their chance, maybe they would have even wanted an insurrection so that more money can fly to America. I think I've said enough concerning that. So that we do not become less nationalistic in our approach to issues. We should be proud Nigerians, proud Africans, that we can determine what happens in this country.
And we should take credit for it when good things happen.
Great. We should take credit for it. The Edo people are to be saluted. And I said to them, Chuale, I salute them. They have done very well. But it is not enough that they have voted this way. It is not yet Uhuru for Governor Godwin Obaseki. If he was ever a good man, this is the time to show the Edo people that they did not make a mistake by returning him. He should not serve them with his life, as it were. Not that he should be killed, but he should see the governance, his governorship, as service to the Lord Almighty. Let the average man of Edo be grateful that Godwin Obaseki was returned. Now, what do I say to Pastor Issei Yamu? As a true man of God, people are alluding to the fact that he should go to court. Well, he will not be paid personally. They have a lot of money to give to some of their lawyers to go and make noise. But this is the will of the people. Somebody, you see, the contributors that you played while we went on break are very, very intelligent people. One of them asked, what happened in Bayelsa? What happened in one other state that he mentioned?
Imo,
where you have Hope Uzodinma and the other man, Bayelsa. Was that the will of the people? And that question is a challenge to the conscience of the judiciary. When you give your technical justice of denying the people their will, and lawyers We are still sad. A good number of Nigerian lawyers are still very disturbed at what happened by Bayelsa. Because we say in our training as lawyers, justice must not only be done, but must be seen to be done. Not only by just lawyers, by the common man on the Okada, by the common man in the Marwa. You should be able to say, the court has done justice. In Bayelsa, Nigerians are saying the Supreme Court gave technical justice, and on the platter of technicality, a miscarriage of justice was done. Maybe tomorrow, the justice of the Supreme Court will wake up and correct that. Not that they will remove the governor, no, but indeed, there was a miscarriage of justice. And what am I therefore saying? Come 2023, politicians have a reason to learn now that Nigerians are not as stupid as they are thinking that we are. We are hungry. We are angry. There's this rather, well, let me say, a very pregnant joke, if I could call a joke pregnant. Somebody says, look at you, the agents of the president are trying to give him a bad name by saying that a bag of rice is now 40,000 naira. Don't mind them, it's not 40,000 naira. It is only 39,900 naira. I hope you get the joke. How much was a bag of rice before APC came into power? What did they not promise us? You now said you were giving us an increment in the minimum wage of 30,000 naira, which some states are not even paying. And then today, the price of petroleum is twice its price. It has doubled. Gas, the same thing. Everything is going up. What is the value of leadership in government if your people are suffering? Right. The railways you are building, the infrastructures you are putting up, is it not only when we are alive that we can enjoy these infrastructures?
Yes.
The first duty of government is to ensure our welfare. There's so much tension. There's so much insecurity. Look at what happened once again in less than 3 months to Professor Zulum of Borno State. Should we not be concerned over this? So I said to the APC, they should take a very big lesson from what has happened in Edo and begin to give measures, succor to Nigerians. Right. I am looking forward to seeing the price of petroleum. In the COVID era, when the price of crude oil went to zero, did they reflect it in the price of petroleum in this country? So I am looking forward to a time in this country when the price of petroleum will come back to 20 naira. And it is doable.
All right.
Give us refineries.
Right.
It is doable.
All right.
Electricity, you can allow states to have their own electricity generation and distribution. Everything must not be federal.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Your final thought on this particular issue before we move on.
Very well. You see, my colleague, Shakiru, you say that the issue of American influence is not.
If you go there, we will not stop today. We will not stop today.
Material. That is not how politicians have their mindset. You know, because these are people who have so much investment outside, and they feel if anything happens, I am stopped from going out, then it would affect me negatively, and so that is why so many of them.
Sir, what is the percentage? What is the percentage of the politicians compared to the rest of Nigerians? Please address that.
Very well. That is what I'm saying now. They are the ones that determine what is going on. The politicians are the ones that determine how things are going to happen.
Edo has changed that. Edo has changed that.
Very well.
The people are now determining.
No. The politicians still determine, because even as we are talking now, it is only what the state governor is going to say will happen in that state that will happen. That is what I'm saying. So they determine the pace of things that go on. Like now we are talking of NLC going on strike tomorrow, and it is because some politicians sat down somewhere and said that the price of this must go up, the price of this must, and so we now react and say no, it is not right on us. But there are some people who make the decisions, and so these politicians, they have their investment outside, and they will never allow anything to happen to their investment. They will never allow any road to be shut against their going out to get, and so they are very careful. Once there is a voice from outside, but there is no country that is an island. Once there is a voice from outside saying, if you do this, this is what is going to happen, they are very careful. That is one aspect.
I am talking about the double standard of America. Double standard.
Yes, there is no doubt about that. There is no doubt about the double standard of the US and all the outside world. We know that very well. They would have even wanted us to fight so that they would sell their ammunition and make money and all that. But you see, when they want to say something that will make us to put ourselves in check, they just send a signal and we retreat. We retrace our steps.
They are manipulating us. They are manipulating us.
In fact, there is no place that is not manipulated.
We should not be manipulated.
There is no country. There is no country. There is no human being. There must always be a force somewhere that is manipulating somebody. Whether, in fact, if you are in your house, you must either manipulate your children or to manipulate your wife and all that. These things happen. It's not possible for you to be an island as long as you are a human being. That is one. One thing that this election has actually taught us is that once the people determine to do something, they can do it. And let me say it here that when some people are saying that the Supreme Court might turn, it's not possible. The Supreme Court justices are members of the society. Hey. They are listening to us very well. They are listening to us. Did you just say
it is not possible?
They are listening to us.
I pray so.
They know that.
I pray so.
They know that in a situation, you know, the judgment that they delivered in respect of Bayelsa and in respect of Imo State were mistakes. They were mistakes that the Supreme Court has found it difficult
to defend,
to defend and to correct. Because the moment the Supreme Court says, pronounces something, it is law. It stands. And so you cannot expect the Supreme Court to reverse itself in that same circumstance. Unless in due course, when somebody else has the same situation, you can present the decision and they say, okay, we can reverse ourselves. That is why Justice Okuta said, the Supreme Court is not final because it is infallible. It is infallible because it is final. You understand? That is the situation. So there is no way this particular election result can be overturned. The Supreme Court justices are listening to us. There is no way some people will sit down and say that this Edo election result is overturned against the will of the people. Granted, they made mistakes. They made mistakes formally. They can never make mistake in this one again. That is my own take on it.
All right, very well. And that's where we'll draw the curtain on the Edo governorship election, the discussion on it. Well, the Ondo State governorship election is coming on, and we hope the will of the people will prevail, and also peace before, during, and after that particular election. Now let's